Ladies and gentlemen, it is 7 o'clock on the nose, according to my watch here. So we'd like to begin tonight's council meeting. I call to order the council meeting for the city of Dayton, Kentucky on Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. Roll call, please.
Mayor Baker.
Here.
Member Volter.
Here.
Member Neary.
Here.
Member Neiman.
Here.
Member Kelly.
Here.
Member Lummis.
Here.
Member Baszler.
Here.
City Administrator Fawcett.
Here.
City Attorney Evanson.
Here.
Full house, love it. Our first full house since the beginning of the pandemic. I hope everyone's had a chance to get their vaccine if they'd like to. And welcome everybody back to in-person meetings. I would now like to start off the meeting with a moment of silence and a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I'd now like to move along to the department head report. Who wants to go first? Man, Rick was on top of it.
I'm going to report for the month and lately, since I didn't turn one in today or this week. We've been mowing the flood wall. We mowed it 4 times now. And we had a mower go down today, which we had to have it dropped off at the mechanics. But we still have a backup mower to cut some of the flats. We've been cleaning up the YMCA. We got it all mulched up and organized. Started mulching the city monument, welcome to Dayton signs, and the parks. We got that looking good, and we'll do the trees here shortly. And we went up Sergeant Park, picked up the fencing and the post and all the garbage and stuff. But they did a good job up there cleaning Sergeant Park up last Saturday, I think it was. Jay and I are working on getting prices for cameras for Sergeant Park. SD1 and DuPont Plumbing should be getting started soon on the plumbing. I haven't heard from them, but they talk like it'd be the first week of May. Just been mowing, doing a lot of mowing. And of course we're getting behind too. Our alleys, our roadside we need to get on. But it's just, we'll do what we can. Keep the emails coming. If it needs to be a real important email, call me or say get on it now. Because I got an email list, a lot of them on there. We boarded up 4 houses for Cassie this month. And working with Jay and SD1 on stormwater issues. We have a sinkhole between 3rd and 4th on McKinney. I had SD1 out today, and they were getting ready to camera and stuff, but I think when that rain hit, they may have had to stop, so I won't know if that's ours or theirs.
Okay.
But it's caving in even farther now, the road's actually broke. So find out where they're at, and if we have to fix it, you know, we can do it. And putting up a lot of signage and handicap signs. That's pretty much what I have so far, and we're busy, so if anybody's got any questions for me, you know.
Oh, we're going to do, I guess, street sweeping probably starting next week, is that right?
Yeah, hopefully, I'm waiting to get, Alan's going to get back with me as soon as we can pick the date. It's scheduled for, right now we're trying to get it done either Wednesday or Thursday next week, and then the weekend before, week before Memorial Day. So it'll be swept during Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully we can get all that worked out. And if you want me to get permanent signs, I'd have to get 24 of them. I'm guessing I can just do the 12 by 18s. We would probably get them for about $20 a piece. And we put those all on utility north side of Fourth and, west side of, Clay Street. And then we'll just have to post everything else with cones,
Because there's no utility poles
Right.
on that side.
which would make it a lot easier
Sixth
just by not having to post Fourth and Clay Street.
Okay,
So if you guys want me to order them, I'll order them. Probably have to order them pretty quick
all right,
to get them in.
we'll talk about that.
Okay. That's all I have.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Lucas?
You're off stage.
Probably should have actually brought Mr. Fawcett up as a department head first for a city administrator report. Oh, wait,
You
wait down
can give
there,
me
my
that at the
bad.
end, but
It's
that's,
way down there in the bottom.
yeah,
You can go last.
might as well, we gotta go through some legislation anyway, so I'll probably explain that before I report.
All right, cool. So with Mr. Yoder's already stand. Wow.
I was closest, I figured what the heck, I'll try to be quick. Probably the biggest news right now in Main Street this month, the long-awaited SRTS TAP grant. Streetscape for the 500 and 600 blocks of 6th Avenue and the sidewalk going up to Dayton Pike. We've gotten approval, we put it out to bid. We'll talk about it later. We also, as I talked Saturday, the bids came in about $60,000 over budget. KYTC has come back and put another $48,000 into our fund, which is 60 times 80%. So that's our 20% match in there. So that project, we'll be moving quickly on it. So we'll be working contracts and stuff like that. So we're coming to fruition. It's been a long time. This spring and summer should be a busy time for new businesses along 6th Avenue. Got about 8 businesses coming in, I'll announce. Miller Financial, Taqueria Nagal, which probably will be opening tomorrow on a soft opening. So the food truck will be moving into a permanent location next to the fire station. Horton's Barber Shop 2 doors down. Glow Beauty Shop at 619 6th Avenue. We had an announcement that Tuba Baking Company has signed a lease at the old Hometown Heroes, 517 6th Avenue. Yeah, out there. And 2 more that just not quite ready to be announced yet, but look very promising, so look for there. I know we have a lot of us were sad to hear that Purple Kool-Aid is leaving us. That building has sold to the Kentucky developer. I think he has some very interesting plans for that. Not ready to be announced yet, but I think people will be very happy with it. Rick talked about the work at Sergeant Park. We were out there today. There's actually mud on my shoes from there, but that's coming along very well. We've got a lot of interest. Target wants to come out and do a volunteer day with their employees, so a lot of interest there. So, still working on the RTP grant for the canoe and kayak put in. We've got 10 bike racks that we got from the Do Good Foundation that we hope to get up this month. Working with Rick on that. We had our Main Street meetings a week ago today. We're working on really kind of a fun project. We're looking at doing kind of a patriotic themed crosswalks at the corner of 6th and Main. So you saw the tape on there, that's kind of going in there, so we've got some designs for that. And Main Street is kind of working on for a calendar for this year for events on the street, a lot of smaller. We're still a little sketchy, a little small, with COVID, it's a lot of smaller family-oriented events. Similar along the lines with the old Wild West Carnival that we had this last month. So May is a Memorial Day Parade, we're looking at it. Horton's Barber Shop was the sponsor of Juneteenth celebration. We're looking at having a celebration at the War Memorial on July 3rd with bouncy houses and games. August is a back to school bash, and we're trying to bring back our fall festival. We had our architectural board of architectural review last month. The group put together new bylaws for themselves. And that's about it. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yoder. To alphabetical order, how about Chief Atkins? You guys do whatever you want.
It's only fair, they went first last week,
Right.
Saturday, we'll let you guys who were last week.
So, you have my report, and, any questions? I did have one comment that apparently the owner's, addresses were not on my report, so I will make sure I get that on there next time for everybody. Just working with Jay still on vacants, things like that, things we talked about on Saturday, so.
Just so for the audience, that we put together a top 10 list of vacant and abandoned properties that we're going to attack in terms of code enforcement, foreclosure if necessary. These are the worst of the worst, we think, and that list will be continuing. So once we knock off a couple, we'll still have the top 10. We'll just add a couple more until we get rid of the worst properties in the city. So we're going to focus on attacking these vacant and abandoned properties.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Any questions?
You said that you and Rick had forwarded up 4 more homes. And I noticed on the budget report that Mrs. Ledger gave us that there's, for the $500 vacant registration fee, I think there's only 4 or 5 that have registered, so that have paid that $500. And I know we're working on the abandoned and blighted properties. That $500 charge still applies on those properties, correct?
Still what?
We passed an ordinance that if the house is vacant for X amount of months,
Yes.
that they have to register it as vacant
Right.
and pay a $500, because there's no utilities or anything
Right.
involved. Are all of our listed vacant properties up to date on that $500 fine or
No,
charge?
No, some of them you can't, I mean, some of them we have no
you
communication.
can't find the homeowner.
They're deceased, they're, out of state, they're,
Right.
something.
So they have been cited, just not collected?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Correct.
That was the
Yes.
main question.
Yes, so then Rick will send me a bill and then, once again, that'll go towards the property, so.
Understood, thank
Towards the
you.
lien, yeah. Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Patterson. All right, so dealer's choice, who wants to go?
I forgot to pay it.
I think I gave them all. Dave, I gave them all.
Did they get a copy?
I think I did.
There you go.
Well, I didn't have anything else to add to the report. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I can make an announcement, I guess. You guys know about it, that we do got a school resource officer for next school year coming in, so let the public know. This year was kind of a weird year. Myself and Jay Brewer wasn't sure if it was going to be in person for the rest of the year or just virtual learning. So we just didn't know on the school resource officer if it was something that we needed to get, but since the time we had left, it's just, we're doing, the police department's covering the traffic, any issues at the school, walking through the schools and stuff like that. For the remainder, I think we got 3 weeks left. But for the next school year, we'll have a school resource officer. Any questions?
The officer is retired from Newport.
Yeah, the officer is a retired captain from Newport Police Department. He retired in October.
And he also worked with the school resource.
He provided, he was in charge of the school resource officers for Newport schools.
So the great thing is, we don't have to pay medical benefits or retirement benefits as his retired officer.
That's
So
correct.
that helps a bunch a little bit.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chief. Well,
Last but not least.
Mr. Atkins?
That's for last.
That's for last, yes.
That's for last. You'll have our report. Only thing I really have to add to it is, I briefly mentioned it Saturday. I have my second meeting with FEMA today, and after we get our 46-page application filled out and jump through their multicolored, multi-flaming hoops, we are looking like we're going to get reimbursed about $54,000 in overtime expenses for COVID. I had 61 shifts of overtime that were due to COVID illness. And for reference, my overtime budget for the whole year is $150,000. So I had an additional third of that was not budgeted for, so I'm hoping to get that back.
So Chief, you talked about this Saturday at our planning session, but I don't know if people weren't aware. You had one.
I had one member off for 31 or 39 shifts.
And that's, everybody had to cover his time.
So that was covering his time, plus I think total out of the 16 of us, I think 8 of us, almost half that would ended up testing positive for COVID or being ill. And like I said, the one gentleman, he was off. He was very sick, and we didn't think he was going to come back. So covering those overtime shifts tore my budget apart.
And those shifts are 24-hour shifts, not
Correct,
8-hour shifts.
Yes. So, talking to FEMA, they're gonna reimburse us the gross wages and the employer CERS contribution.
Great.
So, that'll help. Beyond that, I don't have anything else. I was threatened to be quick, so.
That's $27,000 out of overtime that, it's 54 for the department, so it's $27,000 for Dayton that we don't have to pay for overtime?
No. No, so what that is, that's reimbursing us. My budget is $150,000 for overtime. This was $54,000 that was not budgeted into my overtime. So my budget, I've already hit my overtime budget by the second week of April, and I still had all of May and all of June.
Right.
So my overtime budget's probably gonna be $175,000, $180,000 by the time we're done, because I got 19 guys are burning vacation days in May and June. So, yes, sir.
Chief, can you give everyone an update on the ambulance progress?
Yeah, so we talked to them today, and we're looking at having it back the third week of May. So when we did the contract, it was a 60 to 75 day turnaround time. So 75 days puts us, I think, the 23rd or 24th of May. So we talked to them today, everything is on schedule. The box has been attached to the new cabin chassis, so they're just running all the wires and attaching everything. And then they'll work on getting redoing the lights and all the interior of it and making sure everything's up and running. And knock on wood, we'll be good to go.
Well, I know when we got on both of the trucks, when we first received them, it takes a gap until they're put into service because of training and everything. Is that going to be the case with this ambulance?
So we're trying to time everything out. The state of Kentucky, the Kentucky Board of EMS says we can't put it in service till they inspect it. So once we know the exact date that it's going to be here, we're going to try to get the state up here and have it inspected the same day. The ambulance, the nice multicolored ambulance you see running down the road right now is a loaner from the company that's redoing our ambulance. It'll need to go away when they deliver our ambulance, so it's going to be a lot of stuff kind of happening at once. But the hope is get it. There shouldn't be a whole lot of training on it, and be able to just flip it over and put it right back into service.
That was really the reason for my question, because we have the loaner until the new one's delivered.
Yes.
From the date that it's delivered and that other spare ambulance goes away, we should be able to put the new ambulance in service immediately?
That's the plan. Now,
Okay.
you know, best laid plans, but that is the plan. Now, like I said, we're still working with K-beams to get them up here, and once we have a good final date from the company that when it's going to be delivered, we can set that in motion. And there may be a day we may not. We just may have to. The county has a loaner ambulance as well, or a spare, so it may we just have to borrow that for a couple of days until we can get everything lined out. But we won't be without an ambulance one way or the other.
So Chief, this company also puts the power cot in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we ordered it, we sent it to them, so they get the power load system and the power cot, and we'll have it all. So,
And Mr. Foster, you weren't here when the decision was made. The cost savings between buying a whole new ambulance and reusing the box, I think you estimated at $75,000?
So to remount the ambulance, and again, that's an industry standard where a lot of places are going to, was $107,000. To purchase a new ambulance is anywhere from $190,000 to $230,000. So we made the decision when we did this to go ahead and purchase a power cot with it as well. That, again, we're the last department in the county that does not have one. And there's studies that have showed this power cot will help on back injuries and things like that. So that was an additional $40,000. So we're still coming out $50,000 to $65,000 a hit.
Yes. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving along to the mayor's report. Been a pretty busy couple months here at City Hall. First of all, I want to recognize and welcome a few new members to the table here. Alex Evanson is our city attorney. This is the first time you've seen him in person, not virtual. Second of all, member Lovins as a new city council lady. Welcome to the party. And lastly, Mr. Jay Fawcett. This is his first virtual, or I mean not virtual meeting with the city. So welcome to the new team.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you here, giving your energy to our city. Second of all, I want to mention, we did a great job last week of offering vaccinations through the Baptist Church. I believe 38 people were vaccinated with whatever recipe they wanted, whether it was Johnson & Johnson or Moderna or Pfizer. They all got what they were looking for, and we're very appreciative of the Baptist Church and our city staff for putting that forward.
In the health department.
And the Orange County Health Department. Thanks, sir. And what a busy month we've had on the Main Street. We've got a lot of new businesses, as Bob mentioned. Millard Financial Advisors has opened up what used to be Rifkin's or Millie's or whatever you want to call it. That building's been empty for 15, 20 years. Now has a vibrant business inside of it. And they're going to have apartments with new residents upstairs, so that's a big win for the city. We're very excited to have them. Tuba Baking obviously made their mention yesterday that they're going to be opening up a pretzel shop and a beer garden inside the old Hometown Heroes. So that's very big news. And a lot of social media about that. People are excited about that. So it's going to bring new citizens to the city. Hello Beauty. They offer pedicures, which I've never had, but I'm very excited about having one. So I've been told it's going to happen. And I want to give a lot of credit to Dayton Dining Dollars, which was a successful program that came to us from the COVID-19 Relief Fund. $5 was given to each resident or each household in the city. And I spoke with multiple business owners who said that $5 turned into $25 when people got done with their meal. So the numbers aren't exactly in on how much that really regenerated back in the city, but it was a success story. So well done to everybody who did work on that. And that is all I have for this month's mayor's report. Any questions for me? All right, we'll move along to the approval of minutes from the April 6th, 2021 special council meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes from April 6, 2021.
Member Neary made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Member Neiman. Do we have any comments? All in favor? Aye.
I'm not voting.
Make it known that Member Volter did not vote. Moving along to the ordinances and orders and resolutions. The first one we have on the docket today is order resolution number 2021, number 10 Romeo, appointing Michael Borgman to the Code Enforcement Board and reappointing all the board members. Do I have a motion to accept 2021 number 10 Romeo?
So moved to accept 2021 10R.
Member Volter made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Member Lovins made the second. Do we have any comments regarding the appointments to the board?
I want to thank all these people for stepping up. Everyone who serves on every board, we appreciate their time and effort.
It's just nice to see a full board.
Agreed.
Can we list out who's on the board for the general public?
Yes. So a resolution order the City of Council of the City of Dayton, Kentucky, appointing Michael Borgman to the Code Enforcement Board and reappointing Becky Mays, Alan Smith, Mike Lenz, and Randy Bydash to the Code Enforcement Board.
Thank you, Ms. Ledger.
You're welcome.
Any other comments regarding 2021 number 10 Romeo? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So passes. The next order resolution on our docket today is order resolution number 2021 number 11 Romeo, agreement with Mike Yeager and Prime AE Group Incorporated to provide engineering services to the city of Dayton. Pardon me. Do I have a motion to accept number 2021 number 11 Romeo?
I'll make a motion to accept order number 2021-11R.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Member Kelly and the second has been made by Member Neary. Do we have any comments regarding 2021 number 11?
Just a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
So my understanding is, after reading through the agreement, that there is no fee structure unless we utilize services.
That's
Is
correct.
that correct?
Yes.
And then, Mr. Fawcett, will there be will the finance committee make a recommendation for a budget for the expenditures or not?
Yeah, we can't, when we're doing our budget, we will put a number in there for this, because it's a new category which we haven't had before.
I know it'll be up.
Yeah, and initially, but probably it's gonna be higher at the beginning, I mean, the first year, then in later years, but there's gonna be a lot of stuff he's gonna do in terms of evaluating all our streets to see, in terms of priority, which one needs to be repaired first, rather than later. So I think in the initial year, we're probably gonna need a little bit more in than we will in later years, but yeah, so that would be, finance committee would be, we'd happy to hear the recommendations, but it would need to be in the budget.
Okay, great, thank you.
This is long overdue, and I appreciate, we always talk about hiring experts, and this is hiring an expert on an as-needed basis. And you said determining which streets need to be paved. Everybody's own street needs to be repaved. You know, everybody has their own opinion about it, but to bring someone in to actually be able to tell us professionally and neutrally about infrastructure and roads and sidewalks, et cetera, I think is really going to be an eye-opener to all of us. And especially since our municipal aid road funds are, what, about a third of what they used to be, not 5-6 years ago. So we really got to stretch the dime on this.
I think the great thing about this is that we have one engineer now, we have some continuity, so we're going from project to project. In the past, we hired one engineering firm to do this, one to do this, and then a lot of times they had to get up to speed because they weren't familiar. Well, having one person we can go to, one firm we go to is going to be great. We'll have institutional knowledge, and they won't be relearning everything every time they're doing a project. So I think Bellevue did this a couple of years ago, and they saved a lot of money. He's also brought this is the same engineer, he's also brought a lot of money in through grants, through OKI. So he's paid for his salary and the budget that, not salary, but for the budget contract that he's under with Bellevue.
Now, who gets to say when let's say you have an amendment to the Manhattan Harbor development, okay? I presume administration would make the call within that line budget to employ them as, in other words, you're not gonna have to come back to council and say, hey, I want our guy to take a look at this.
Yeah, as long
It's
as
gonna be at your all's discretion.
that's the plan, as long as it's within that amount that we assign, and being the first year, we might not be right, we may have to come back and we go over that amount, but yeah, as long as it's within that budgeted amount, we would have discretion about how to use his services.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other comments regarding resolution 2021, number 11, Romeo? Closing that down. 3, 2, and 1. Can I get a roll call?
Yes. Member Baszler?
Yes.
Member Volter?
Aye.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Nyman?
Here, I mean, I.
I did that in high school once. Here.
Member Kelly?
Aye.
Member Lovins?
The ayes have it unanimously. Moving along to order resolution number 2021, number 12, Romeo. This will be approving the contract with TMS Construction in the amount of $519,334.52 for sidewalk projects funded by SRTS/TAP grants, order 2021, number 12R. Do I have a motion to accept this order?
So moved.
You sound exhausted about that.
Talked about that, so
So
moved.
seconded.
So moved by member Volter, so seconded by member Neary. Do we have any comments regarding this resolution?
Just glad it's gonna happen finally, and we can get it out there and get it started, because our citizens and our kids need a safe way to come down that street and that hill to come to school and go back, and it's a good connector for the city, and so it's an exciting project. Long overdue.
Mr. Yoder had mentioned earlier there was a cost above and beyond the initial estimate. And just to clarify, I believe that additional cost is because this took 8-10 years to get this far. And that small, less than a 10% increase over that 10 years is pretty good to still stick with the original plan. So I applaud everybody in past administrations and this administration and council members who kept kicking this, not kicking the can down the road, but kicking it, because this has been painful.
Anything else to add, Mr. Mayor?
No, sir, let's pour some concrete.
Yes, sir. Do we have any other comments regarding council? Can I have a roll call, please, Ms. Ledger?
Yes. Member Volter?
Aye.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Neiman?
Aye.
Member Kelly?
Aye.
Member Lovins?
Aye.
Member Baszler?
Aye.
The ayes have it unanimously. That's a big one. Congratulations to the city of Dayton, that's awesome. Next order, we have number 2021, number 13, Romeo, approving a code enforcement amnesty program in the city of Dayton. Do I have a motion to accept number 2021, number 13R?
I make the motion to accept order 2021-13R.
Motion's been made by member Neiman. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by member Kelly. Opens up the floor for comments regarding this motion or this ordinance. Do we have any comments? Closing it out in 3, 2, and 1. Can I have a roll call, please, Ms. Ledger?
Yes. Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Neiman?
Aye.
Member Kelly?
Aye.
Member Lovins?
Aye.
Member Baszler?
Aye.
Member Volter?
Aye.
Again, unanimous roll call. And it passes with 100% ayes. The last ordinance, or I'm sorry, the second last ordinance we have is ordinance 2020-15, number 5. This is Ms. Ledger's favorite. This is the ordinance amending the animal license fee. This is a first reading. Could you please read it, Ms. Ledger?
City of Dayton, Kentucky, ordinance number 2021, number 5. An ordinance rescinding ordinance 91.03, which established an animal license fee. Whereas the city of Dayton is a pet-friendly community, in furtherance of same, the city of Dayton hereby wishes to eliminate the license fee formerly imposed upon every dog and cat owner in the city. Whereas now the city is officially a license-free, animal-loving city. And it's first reading.
First reading. Thank you very much, Ms. Ledger. The second one we have is the ordinance number 2021, number 6. This is an ordinance repealing section 37.08 of the Dayton Code of Ordinances and enacting an updated section 37.08 and new sections 37.09 and 37.10 involving abandoned urban property and blighted and deteriorated property in our city. This is the first reading, Ms. Ledger.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, ordinance number 2021, number 6. An ordinance repealing section 37.08 of the City of Dayton Code of Ordinances and enacting a new section 3708, section 3709, and section 3710 to define abandoned urban properties and blighted and deteriorating properties in the city. Creating a process to identify these types of properties in the city and notify property owners of this classification. Setting a taxation rate for these properties at 75 cents per 100 of assessed value, and creating a notice, hearing, and appeal process related to this classification. And that's the first reading.
Thank you, Ms. Ledger. Moving along the agenda, we have the city administrator's report. Mr. Fawcett.
Thank you. Saturday, we had a city council strategic planning session here in this very room. We started at 9 o'clock in the morning. The first part of the program was just city council and me working on some strategic planning initiatives. So what we did was a SWAT analysis where we looked at the city's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, kind of drove them all down. And then for that, we actually took, I had meetings with each of the city council members individually and talked about what they thought were priorities, important things in the city. I put us all together. We had 30 different categories up here, from abandoned properties to, you name it. And we had the city council went through and they evaluated with little stickers which ones they thought were most important. And so we're gonna take all that and put together a priority list to show what the city council thinks is the most important issues in the city. And then, of course, we have a budget coming up, so we'll then look at our budget and see how we can budget to try to address the issues the city council came up with. In the afternoon, we had all the department directors come in, talk a little bit about their departments and also what their budget needs are for the 21-22 fiscal year. So, very good meeting. We got out by 3 o'clock. Everybody got to their Kentucky Derby parties in time. So it was good. It was really good to have this group working together. I was really impressed with what you all did, so it was great. So the other thing about the code enforcement board members that were just appointed, we now have 5 code enforcement members, which is good. We only had 3 before. Got kind of dicey, somebody couldn't make it, so having 5 is better. And we're going to have our first code enforcement board meeting in a while, in a couple weeks. At that meeting, I'm going to do kind of an educational session with them to kind of explain the role of code enforcement, some of the new ordinances we're going to be passing or have passed, like the one we just had first reading on. And so I think the whole idea is this amnesty program we just approved gives people 3 months to basically take care of their properties, and if they do that, we're going to waive past citations and fines. The idea is we don't really want to fine people, we just want them to fix their properties. So if they fix their properties, we're going to give them this 3-month period to do that. If they don't do it after that 3-month period, well, this fall, we're really going to start hitting hard on abandoned properties and code enforcement of properties that are property owners, whether they're rental property landlords or whether they're people who own properties. If they're not maintaining their properties, we're going to hit hard, and there won't be any amnesty at that point. They're going to be fined, and we'll be putting liens on their property and asking them legally to take care of the property. If they don't, we'll take legal recourse to make sure something is done. So that's pretty much it.
Any questions for the city administrator? Thank you, Mr. Fossey. Mr. Evanson?
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. This is the section that we have not had in a year, but we're excited to have it today. Today we'd like to open up the podium for the audience. Anybody who'd like to address city council, please. Yes, sir. State your name and address.
Rob Brockman, 1007 Urban Terrace. I got issues with when they redid it. What I'm wanting to find out is, from the time when you took over in Virgil, 2 years prior, for your first year, what happened with Urban Terrace? Why was it patched, band-aided? The water's not fixed, nothing's fixed. I mean, absolutely nothing fixed. He can verify this, he is getting a lot of water. Maybe not as much as me. My basement fills, other people next door to me. 2 are abandoned. Why are they abandoned? Because they flood all the time. Fire department has to come up, shut them down, red tag them, till they get it fixed and drained. People can't live in them. But then you want to go fine them for $500. You know, that's not right. It's not our fault. You know, if you all lived up there, wouldn't you take care of your property? Wouldn't you want these fixed? Or would you like to be flooded out? I sent him a bunch of videos, so he knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I met with him. I mean, I like to meet with you guys, sit down and talk about it, because I have a lot more to talk to what I'm talking about now. Because it's just not right. You know, you used to see going up and down the street, beginning of the morning, being cleaned up, trims cleaned, or trees trimmed. In the evening, before they clock out, clean. You know why? Because you have 2 mayors living on top of that hill. That was bitch. Right to Rick, somebody else, whoever was before Rick. They cleaned up there. Kenny Wrinkle, when he was living. School paints underneath that railway track every year. He had them change it because it was too bright. They was right on it. Painted it up, rechanged it. It's all clean. I mean, I got videos. My house got cameras on it. So I can show you how many times they're up and down the street now. We got half sidewalks. We've got curbs up there like this. What kind of curb is it? I have no curb in front of my driveway. None. I got pictures where it's been cracked, where they sat for 2.5 years. I put it on Facebook. I showed it. I tried to talk to you when you first started. You kept blowing me off about the problem. Tried to get the issue fixed then. Wouldn't be as bad. Now, my driveway is sinking in. So what I want is you to hold a thing of a hose against mud for 2.5 years. That mud's going somewhere. It's not going to sit there with that water. Am I right or wrong? It's going to undermine. So now my sidewalk's all cracked from their outriggers. Them going up with the grader, when they graded it to do the blacktop. Nothing's being done. But you look up the street, you got beautiful sidewalks. She's my neighbor. She's got a nice curb, nice sidewalk. Look across the street, patch, 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 patch. Down by his house, is patch. Certain little spots. I mean, I've got pictures of them all. I mean, I'll send my phone around. I mean, I'm just trying to be fair here. Now, if I lived on that avenue, you think that problem would be there? I can promise you it will be. People guarantee it would not be there. It would be fixed immediately. You know why? People drive through that area. Hell with the bottom, hell with the top. You live on that avenue, let me. You ain't have nothing to worry about. You got abandoned houses on the avenue. Nothing being done to them, because it's just right by it. You want to see a house tore down on the avenue? No, you ain't gonna see it. You know why? Because it looks bad on the city, tearing buildings down. So why? What happened to this money for urban terrace? She's got a hole in the back of her yard that now is being claimed. When I bought the home, my deed's right here, my driveway veers to the right. My deed even says veers to the right. They put a curb over here. They put a curb here, straight across, just and then none in front, none. You see what I'm saying? Now it's straight across. So I got people living across from me. So when I come in with my trailer, my pop-up, you ain't driving. I got to drive over a damn curb. Or I got that much blacktop flowed down there. Was done by him and Michael. I don't know, but it was done. That's no good. What makes that right to just, here, we'll throw a little there, take care of that. I mean, where's the money at? Where is the funds? It was argument and was said that when you took over, hey, we're not paying for all this. Sanitation will pay for half, water will pay for half, and then we'll pay what we have to pay. Where's the money? Where'd it go? You can approve all this money for these sidewalks going up to where we don't even get the taxpaying money for them to walk down out of them new condos up on top of the hill. Down, how many kids on Dayton Pike live up there and actually walk to schools? Take a count, will you? Because it ain't worth even putting it in there. You're putting it in there for them condos to walk down to that little so-called park.
You know what, Robert? If one kid gets killed coming down.
My brother almost got killed up there.
Then the sidewalk's worth it. The sidewalk is worth it.
And how many years has it been sitting there, Mr. Walter? How many years has it been like that? And just like these bump outs.
Too many years.
Just like these bump outs.
It's a safety issue. It's not for.
All of a sudden, it's a safety issue. I'm 52 years old.
It's a
He was
safety
there
issue.
with my brother, and I'm the baby. He's older than I am.
And I'm not disputing.
And all of a sudden, it's a safety issue?
It is a safety issue, but I'm not disputing what you're saying. And I'm not sure what you're getting at. Apparently, you feel like
Well, you get grants for things, use the money on that grant.
you think your area has been neglected is what I'm hearing.
All urban terrace, not only mine, not only me. I'm not up here for just me. You know, this man lives there, he's on council member. I'm for all. I'm not just up here for myself.
And I would definitely like to look at what you're saying. And
I'm gonna take you up there,
I was
drive it,
gonna
and
say,
buy
what
you.
is your house address? Just
1007 Urban Terrace.
1007?
and get a better vision of what it is that you are, have an issue with. But I will say this, that sidewalk that's going up on Dayton Pike is a safety issue. The money secured for that was through a Safe Schools grant through Dayton Schools in conjunction with the city.
And how many kids actually come from there?
Well, I see a lot of kids walking up and down there all the time, all the time, all the time.
I'm up through there, I'm lucky to see a kid once, twice a week.
Well, I live up in those expensive condos that.
Oh, I know you do. I know, that's another issue. We're paying for the lights, we're paying for the streets.
You pay
to be
for what?
salt. I watched it,
No, my $5,000 a year in taxes pays for that. So
that goes to Fort Thomas,
No, that's what I pay,
to the city of Dayton.
and the county, both.
Plus you got association fee, right?
Yes,
Okay, association fee is for taking care of property.
but that sidewalk grant was done in conjunction with the schools.
So we pay on their lights there, get pay over there.
Pay on
Give us
whose-
better
We
lights.
pay on whose lights?
Anywhere in the city of Dayton.
Mr. Brockman, if I get this back on point, because you're talking A versus B, okay? The grant, the money that's being spent up there has already been approved, matched, everything else.
Yeah, there's
You're
nothing we can do
talking-
about it,
Well,
because you've got
let me
1,
finish
2,
that.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people approved it, not the whole city. Nobody listens.
Let's talk about your problem, sir.
Nobody
Let's talk
listens
about
to
your
my
problem.
problem is the issue I'm having.
And I have been up there.
Nobody
plenty of
listens
times.
to any of it unless you live on that avenue.
I understand that. I understand your point, I don't necessarily agree with it, but as far as your issue
You
on
know,
urban
you
terrace,
stood up there. Now you're gonna stand here and lie to me.
I've been up there plenty of times.
And you looked at me when they started saying you was gonna get it taken care
Mr.
of.
Brockman, please.
All right, I want to set a meeting, you, and you.
I'll be there, you know that.
That's fine.
Let's do it
That's
right
fine, but we're
now,
not
so
gonna
we
be
don't
yelling
get
at
a
people
phone
in it.
call and I get blowed off.
So I've met with Mr. Brockman, and we've had phone calls, and I've taken SD1 up and looking at it, and there are some issues with water coming on this property, no doubt. So I've talked to SD1, and one of the first things, we just hired an engineer tonight, one of the first things I'm gonna do is take him up there and we're gonna talk about it.
You know, you walked into Hornet Nest.
I know.
So does she. She's all new here.
That's fine, but I'm trying to work with you, and we've had good
You are.
conversations.
I appreciate what you're doing.
And, you know, we just need some time, and once we get our engineer on board, we've got somebody who knows what they're talking about in terms of stormwater, and we can hopefully get some solutions. So we are already working with SD1 on some
It's
solutions.
fine. Yeah, I like that. But what I'm saying, these guys have been here long enough to know this, and nothing's done. When you pour blacktop, 1 year, was 1 year now, Rick, it's been poured or 2? Urban Terrace.
1
1
year.
year?
It was paved about 10 years ago.
Now you're talking about last year.
Just
Oh,
last
last
year.
year, but here's the thing with that project. That was not the city of Dayton's project. Dayton did not pay 1 penny for all the sidewalks up there, the curbs or nothing. That was the water company. The water company had their engineering firm lay it out, SD1.
I wish I would have kept the letters from City of Dayton and Virgil, where,
I don't know about
that-
Virgil.
where we got letters by living up there. What we was going to go through, when the road was going to be shut, when it was not going to be shut down, and what was being done.
Well, the
It was supposed
last
to
year's
be-
project,
The pipes was to be been pushed over on my side of the street.
all I know is
All I
the
keep
water
hearing
company.
is, there's no room to put no catch basins.
Because when I met the water
But if
company
you
up
put it
there,
catch-
when they were replacing, they had to replace the main from 9th and Urban all the way up to 10th and Silver. When we went to the construction meeting, the whole bit, They had an engineering firm, which water company SB1, anytime we do a project like that, they have an engineering. It's not the city of Dayton engineering. We met the water company up there. Every sidewalk that was visibly damaged within a certain distance of the area.
We got a letter promising.
That's why she got a brand new sidewalk, right? Exactly. A
Oh,
lot
so-
of people got a new sidewalk. If it wasn't damaged, they were not gonna replace it.
But when they started the project, it stopped 2 doors from me. They cut it off with these pipes.
I don't know what they did.
Because
with that.
you was up there, I asked you. You
Yeah,
said,
but I-
you said it was tested, it was runoff, okay? I come home, the water guy, about 3:30 in the afternoon, sitting over here. They're gone already. That guy gave up, he said, I'm done. When you find a water leak, I'm tired of my guys being here in mud every day fighting. So he says, they're gone. So I go and talk to this water guy and ask what's going on. That's the exact words he told me, that the guy said they're done with the project.
And I
And I said, would you like to find it?
But how many times did I have the water company up there to test that? I brought them up quite a bit.
I didn't see
I
them.
can't test them.
I didn't see them. You told me you tested.
Right, they would come up, they would test, and they said there's no chlorine. So we just assumed, I had to take the word, there was no chlorine.
For 2.5 years?
Well, I mean, we have runoff all the time.
I understand runoff. I see dirty runoff.
And
I
every
see
time-
all this.
Every time it runs off, I mean, it's different, you know, it may happen today, and next hard rain, it may not happen. But just like there on,
But when it's shooting up out of the ground,
well,
that
on
is
the
not
hill,
runoff.
it can forcibly do that to a point. But
I
I did
got
have the water company up
one
there
picture.
numerous times.
One picture
Well,
here.
I mean, I believe what you're
And I like
saying.
that
But as
there
far
was
as the
a,
city, we did everything we could do
there was
to
a
try to get this fixed.
14-inch split, 2 inches wide, shooting dead center of my driveway.
And that was repaired.
It
That
was,
was repaired
it was repaired.
during the project. So I think moving forward, Mr. Brockman, rather than
They,
trying-
but listen,
We can't-
before
we're
you
not-
step in there and keep going and going and going.
Would you
That's
let
the
me
problem.
finish?
You don't want to listen. You want to be cut people off.
That's what you're doing to me.
Every time. You.
You want me to finish first?
No, I want to finish what I'm
Okay,
talking
finish it
about.
and I'll go.
That's right. When you're talking about when it was finished, yeah, what do? They spray that stuff down there, concrete. The guy right now that was in this picture, in this video, is my son's boss. He's willing to go from over, he's transferred to Campbell County, or Kent County now. Him and the 2 guys and him is willing to come over here to show what they put in there. Dave Powell, retired from the water company. He's
Flowable
with-
fill, with the flowable fill,
Do what?
flowable fill. It's like a sandy mix and hard.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah,
like concrete.
but like they said, for 2.5 years, I'm standing down in my yard, concrete, you know, it's coming up, water's coming up. Why? Now my top driveway is all going like this.
Yeah, I'm not saying there was any leaks or anything.
And then when they put the outriggers, they busted my sidewalk. And then when they came up with that thing, I got pictures, they chewed the hell out of it.
And I'm not doubting that, I'm not doubting that at all.
But
As far
why
as
ain't
the
it
water
fixed?
issues coming up, the city, I mean, as a city, we did everything we could by getting the water company to come up there. I
Well,
mean,
that's why I want to see what Virgil had put up, because out of his mouth,
Well, I don't know what
Out of his
happened
mouth.
to Virgil or anything. I'm just
there's
talking
$1
about
million
the-
supposed to be done. We're supposed to have 6-inch curbs, all sidewalks tore out, all brand new all the way through.
That never came through my department or anything. I
Well,
never
that's,
had anything.
that's why I want to see where this money went to. From the 2 years before the 1 year got put off, then that year here, and then it was election year, and
I
then
can
he
say it
won.
wasn't spent on urban terrace. Well, if it was 2 years ago, I don't know where it was spent.
Well, that's
3
why,
years ago. or
it's
4 years
open
ago.
book. That's why I won.
Can I finish, Mr. Brockman?
Yeah, but it's useless.
I know. But I want to get my 2 cents in here too, or 18 cents. That $1 million that you're talking about was the cost of the whole project estimate.
Why do you mean, Mayor? You talk
I
more
gave
than
you the
Mayor.
floor, let me have it. That $1 million was the cost of the whole project. I was on council at the time. And that cost was totally paid for by Northern Kentucky Water District, not by the city. City didn't handle any funds. And yeah, you're right, the promise was that sidewalks would be replaced as needed. It's up to the
Not
water
as
district.
needed.
As needed.
No.
And as Mr. Lucas said, this was a Northern Kentucky Water District contractor.
It looks like
that
crap
did-
up there.
What I suggest moving forward, because the past is past, let's move forward. Let's meet with City Administrator Fawcett, the city engineer on call that we just hired, who is going to be a professional opinion and is not going to worry about what was said or done or not done 10 years ago. If you want Mayor Baker, if you want me to be in on it, I'll take a day of vacation off of work.
Honestly, I could care less here about you. Your mouth, I hear enough of. You've been here long enough. You lied to me, you stood right in front of my house with me and poured down rain.
Mr. Brockman, we're trying to help you. We're
I
listening.
understand that.
I've met with you, he's met with you. I'm pretty sure, Mr. Neary, you probably met with him. We're offering you a solution.
I want a meeting.
We're offering you another meeting with engineers. I understand.
When and what time? So I don't
Within
get
the
cut
next-
off when I get called. I call and say, well, no.
That's
I gotta
not
get,
necessarily
I gotta
true.
get the contract signed with the engineer. Once I do, I'll tell him that one of the first orders of business will be meeting with you.
I appreciate, but you're doing great. You're doing great. 'Cause like
Well,
I
good,
said,
you should thank
into
this
the
council for
horn.
hiring him.
You stepped into the hornet's nest, buddy.
I know.
You really did. And I told you when I first met you that.
Well, good.
But that's all I have. I mean, do
Thanks for your
something
time.
besides, go up there, Terrace, clean it up. You're taking the alleys away, supposedly between two properties.
We're looking at maybe making that a rain retention area, so. I
Yeah,
mean,
and I understand.
Yeah.
But that's both cross street too, right?
where the problems are, where I wait till the engineer says where he thinks, I mean, we need to look at that issue. I don't know if it can be done or not, but it's something.
That's fine. You don't roll your eyes, but that's just sit back and nobody.
I don't think anyone's rolling their eyes.
Sitting there watching them. And you're looking.
Yes, sir. So the podium's still open for anyone else who'd like to address council, administration. Anybody else? We'll close it down. All right. 3, 2, 1, nobody else. I'd like to open up the board for any unfinished business.
We've had some complaints on Facebook about unhooded dump trucks coming through town, moving dirt down to the riverfront. I don't know, I know we had that problem once before, so, Chief?
I've sat up on the marina and I've watched them go in and they say they've been covered.
Okay, I'm just
The ones
saying.
I've noticed have been covered.
Yeah. I don't know, like I said, I've seen the complaints, out there on social media, so just keep your eyes
Yeah.
open. Appreciate it, thank you.
Untarred dump trucks, which is an ordinance that we passed,
Right.
so I appreciate that. Any other unfinished business that we have tonight?
Mr. Edmondson, have you had any progress with Kentucky Transportation Cabinet on the authority on the light on 6th and Berry?
On the what?
Who has the authority to change the light at 6th and Berry? Is it the city or KYTC? Has that been investigated?
Mike Yeager was not hired yet, and I asked him to kind of look into that, so
Okay.
he's looking at that issue. I hope they have an interest yet.
Oh, good.
I sent you an email on it. I don't know if you saw it or not, so.
Well, since I brought it up publicly, I wanted it to be
Yeah.
addressed
Yeah.
publicly too. As long as that's still in the works, I
It's in the works.
appreciate it.
I want to get his advice on that. He used to work for KYTC, so he probably knows the rules and regulations better than anybody.
Understood, thank you.
Is there any update on the Berry Street ramp and if Mr. Stark has found dirt yet?
I had a 2-hour meeting today with Mr. Stark and his attorney and our attorney that's handling our public finance. The discussion is that we raised, we had a big discussion of a lot of things about the TIF agreements and trying to figure out everything that's going on with that. He, I told him that it was a top priority for us, that we'd like to get it done. He's saying, I have no, I don't have the money to do it. I've spent all my money doing this road and infrastructure, and there's no TIF money to do it. And he says, I will do it, but I'm not gonna be able to do it right now. And he's saying that he has no obligation under our TIF agreement to do it at this time. Although he wants to work with us on some other stuff, so there might be an opportunity for us to negotiate with him about when that should be done. So that's where we are basically. So it was the first meeting, lasted 2 hours. We got deep into all the TIF documents, the ordinances that approved it and everything, and development agreement, and so he wants the city, I think he's gonna want the city to do some stuff with him in terms of future development plans. And if that's the case, then maybe we can work a deal where that gets done as part of that negotiation. That's what I would suggest anyway.
So ongoing conversations is probably the answer to your question.
Yeah. But he's right.
But Jay is working hard on pushing that is one of our major agendas.
Right.
And pushing for the city.
We need to stick to the point too, like his only excuse before was he didn't have the dirt, so. If we
Now
can
he's saying he
find
doesn't
this-
have the money.
If we can find this guy the dirt,
Right.
then he shouldn't have an excuse.
Yeah,
So-
he says that, he thinks he can get some dirt, he told me, so, I mean, he's gonna charge it, you know, it's gonna be all part of what it costs to develop it. I need to get our engineer to look at the plans, you know, I'll make sure they're legit, and it's a pretty steep hill, is that gonna work right? And so I want, when we get him on board, to kind of look at that and kind of give me some advice on whether we need to be looking
And
at
is the
changes to it or not.
Does the Army Corps of Engineers like have any, I mean, obviously, we're gonna have to go through them to touch the flood wall, so.
We will, but fortunately on the land side of the flood walls are not as particular as they are on the river side of the flood walls, so, but they still will have to sign off on it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Can we build it and charge them?
Well, we do, I mean, you have to look at with the development agreement, we could do it, but their argument is gonna be, hey, we have an obligation to do this, but it could be, you know, further down the road, so the question is,
So, Mr. Fawcett, when is the riverfront gonna be considered finished?
the entire, so what he did say today was that they are gonna finish the road this summer. They're gonna raise that road where it stops, you know, now you have to go down by the marina. They're gonna raise that road and finish it this summer, he
And
said.
Mr. Stark is no longer a partner in the other development?
He owns the land, he sold his business, so he no longer owns Nelson Stark.
He still is a part owner in the land?
Yes, he owns the marina with Paul Darple, his attorney, and he owns the land that has been filling in. And what he said was he plans to develop on the land that's immediately south of the marina, and that the land immediately to the east, he's going to use that for boat storage at the marina.
You know, I recommend if we can't get this Berry Street corridor going, that we be a little hard on our negotiations, quite frankly.
Well, I mean, if he's gonna be developing that land, he might need something from us, so it seems like a good opportunity to try to see whether we can resolve that issue.
So, thank you.
That was a Berry Street ramp, unfinished business. Do we have any other comments on that? Any other new business? No new business? All right. Moving along, do we have a reason for executive session?
I don't think so.
No executive session this evening. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second by Member Neary, first by Member Volter. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.